Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. What's up, y'all? Listen, it is Wednesday. Y'all know on Wednesdays now we are doing Our Kind of People, which is in its flagship season. Don't know how long we're gonna have this show, but we're gonna rock this thing until the wheels fall off. It is a Fox show. It is also a Lee Daniels show. So, yeah, let's just try to eat as long as we can eat. All right. Still heavily melanated, which I just think is absolutely phenomenal. We did have a few Caucasoid sightings in this episode, but we're not gonna let that bring us down. We're not. We're not gonna let it bring us down. For the most part, this is a heavily melanated show, and it is everything, right? All right. Second thing I wanted to share with you guys is that this is a soap opera. This is a soap opera. And we don't really pick a lot of scabs in soap operas, right? If you spent summers with your big mama, you know that you are not allowed to be pointing out stuff in the soap operas, okay? This her program. Don't mess up my program, which means we don't talk about the fact that somebody been in a coma for 56 years and they get up and they walking and they talking and they fine. Okay, they got all their memories and all of these types of things. We don't talk about that a car went off the cliff and blew up and rolled down an embankment and went into the ocean and rolled out the other side and was blown up by a missile, but the person lived. We don't discuss it. It's soap opera magic, okay? We don't pick the scabs in soap operas. We just are entertained and we have fun. And that's what we're going to do with this show. We are going to be entertained. We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun in these reviews. We're going to have fun down in the comments, okay? Would I have watched if I had known Lee Daniels was behind it? Probably not, because he took me on a whole roller coaster ride with Empire, and I'm starting to get those same emotions. But listen, I'm a big girl. I got my big girl panties on. I'm grown, okay? I'm mature enough to look over these things and just bask in the beauty of the melanation. And that's what we're going to try to do together, because Lee Daniels does what I call dialogue dump. He dumps a lot of plot twists and dialogue in a very small window. It's like a upchuck, like a regurgitation of plot twists. It's not necessary, in my opinion, for the programming to be interesting. We could have taken our time with this soap opera. We saw lots of nightly soap operas as we were growing up, and they were paced out nicely. But because we are dealing with Fox, we may not get even a full season. Okay, we may not even get a full season. This thing may be cut right in the middle at some point. So I can understand to a certain extent the amount of content that he is dumping in each episode. At the same time, it made an hour-long program seem like it was 2 hours. I mean, I kept waiting for it to end, and it just kept going. And I enjoyed that, honestly. I did. So, this episode 2, is called My Mother, Myself. And it opens with this conversation about black hair, the beauty of black hair. And we see Leah getting dressed and getting ready for a function. And we see Angela getting dressed and getting ready for a function. They both look equally as beautiful, equally beautiful. The conversation is about black hair and just how black hair was used not just as head covering, but it was used as a map in slavery time. It was used as a way to communicate between two slaves on a plantation and that type of thing, to convey over conversation. And we've learned also that slaves' hair were cut for that reason, because once they got an idea that we were using it for our benefit, for our good, like an arm or a leg, or you know what I'm saying, they cut it off. And it was meant to slow us down. It was meant to stop us. It was meant to dull the shine, baby. But you can't stop. Ooh, 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 ooh. You can't stop, huh? You can't stop it, and you can't kill it, right? It can't be done. Cannot be done. All right. Okay, let's not dwell there too long. Now, when the show picks up, it is 48 hours earlier than the night that both of these ladies are getting dressed. Okay. And what they're getting dressed for is originally the Black Women in Business ball type thing. That's a big soiree. We see where everybody is in church, and the church is being led by a pastor. They chose the pastor John Gray as the actor for this scene. There are some Tyler Perry moments. Some gratuitous Tyler Perry moments, I have to say, in this episode, that I personally didn't think were necessary, but it's a soap opera. So he's speaking, and it's your normal fare. You know, the rich and the powerful are up front, and Angela and Aunt Piggy and Nikki are in the back, and Aunt Piggy rooting around in her purse trying to get a snack out, and she's eating a little bit, and you know, like, and what? Because all the snooty people are looking behind them like, excuse me, dignity. Afterwards, it's like a church picnic type situation. It was just, you know. And we get to see where Tyreek is there. He's in church as well. Apparently, going to church is a necessity. You know, it's like being seen, and seeing others, being seen by others, and getting an opportunity to see others. So he gets to see Angela there, and she is a regular flirtatious self, and they do a couple of double entendres where, you know, she says, hey, do you know a good contractor? And he says, a good contractor? I'm a good contractor. She was like, oh no, this is not pretty buildings and bridges and things of that nature. This is hard, sweaty, dirty work. And he was like, oh, you want dirty? You want daddy to get dirty on you? Double entendre, you know, dirty work, dirty boy, dirty girl, dirty business. It was fun. It was cute. I love the flirtation between the two of them. It's just that the scenes of when they're together are kind of anticlimactic. They aren't as powerful and as moving as the actual flirtation itself. Okay. But yeah, it was cute. Then we get to see where Olivia and Leah are across the picnic, the church parking lot, and they looking at Angela, and Olivia got her phone out, was like, you don't need to be focusing on this right here. What you need to be focusing on is this right here, and get rid of this girl. She's showing us something on the phone. I was like, Leah then tells Raymond that she pushed her daddy out. We see a scene where she's talking to Raymond and they're sort of getting undressed for the day, and she pushed her daddy out. Her daddy didn't leave voluntarily. She pushed him out. And he was like, okay, well, maybe I can talk you into giving me Darman back. Darman apparently is his now defunct company. Or even if it's functioning, it looks like what her dad did was absorb his company. So what I'm gathering is that the Duponts are elite in name only. What they once were money wise, maybe they aren't at that same place. Okay, that, or he took an opportunity to build something for himself, having the Dupont name, and was consequently taken over by Teddy. Remember, Teddy is supposed to be like our JR. He's the ruthless one, right? He you know what I'm saying? Once he gets his mindset on something, he goes in and lays waste. He salts the earth. He is a go hard or go home type individual. And he feels like the only way he's going to get his company back is now that Leah's in charge, she can just give it back to him. And so they have like this moment where, you know, they're going to negotiate through kisses and hugs and connecting the parts. And she agrees she'll give him the company back. I mean, it's the least she can do. She's going to be on the cover of Forbes, and she's feeling very gratuitous, right? Then we get to see where Angela, Piggy, and Nikki are discussing next steps. And Angela thinks she needs to worm her way into the leadership program through Raymond. And then I can find out what's really going on. It's crazy. Nikki is just frustrated because she's so focused on getting into the Franklin brand and just trying to figure out what's going on with her dad and what appears to be assimilation to her. Nikki's taking it as her mom trying to assimilate, and she's not focused on the fact that Mama Eve, Angela's mama, wanted her ashes spread here, and they still haven't done that yet. She wants her mom to snap out of it, or at least be able to do two things at once. You put grandmama's ashes on the back burner, and you out here chasing these Franklins and these DuPonts, right? She's upset about that. We also see where Raymond is talking to a childhood friend, Jack, and apparently they started the Darman company together. The D is for DuPont, and the Armin is for whatever Jack's family is. But Jack ain't ish. He a white man. You know, this is our one and only Caucasoid sighting. We see it twice. It wasn't necessary, but it didn't hurt nothing either. You know what I mean? Like, we really could have brought in another African American childhood friend. Like, we didn't need this. And no shade to Caucasians at all. Really, it's no shade. It's just that we've had centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries of you guys monopolizing commercials, TV, movies. You're the hero of every story you tell. Seriously, do we need any Caucasoids at all in this show? Not really. Anybody missed them? Anybody? Raise your hand if you missed them. Anybody? I didn't think so. I'm sorry if that comes across harsh. I'm just saying. Well, we find out that Jack ain't ish. Okay, he ain't ish. You know, he's trying to appeal to Raymond when Raymond tells him we could possibly get the company back. He tries to appeal to Raymond because he wants to get back into the fold too. He has need and want of nothing. For whatever reason, he wants to attach himself to Raymond for whatever reason. I think it's for debaucherous reasons. I think if he's not inside the situation with Raymond, he can't tear it down. If Raymond keeps him at arm's length, it's harder for him to tear Raymond down. And let Raymond tell it they would, Jack was like, we were buddy. Remember, we would change our classes so we could be in the classes together. I'm thinking to myself, it's probably not the same memory for Raymond. Sure enough, Raymond goes and tells us how they would do things, and he would get in trouble, but Jack wouldn't, because Jack came from privilege, or he would have to suffer or work twice as hard to get things done, and or to recoup, and Jack family would just pay it off, and he wouldn't have to suffer at all. And so he was very clear with Jack that we are not the same. We are not the same at all. It was the one pontification conversation that I enjoyed. Okay, then we go back to Leah, and we see that the Gracities are at Franklin Holdings at the corporate office. Apparently, they get together. I don't know if it's annually or monthly or what, and they put together these beautiful weekly, maybe put together these beautiful flower arrangements, and they use the new recruits to do it. And then they make these flower deliveries on behalf of the Gracities throughout, I guess the elite in the Bluffs. We get to see where Lauren comes in the middle of all the flower arranging, and it's like a sewing circle but with flowers, right? So it's a lot of little gossip, little conversation, little snips, little snides at one another. Leah takes a couple of snides at Angela, about the baby's breath and not trying to come across as cheap. And then Lauren walks in, speaking of cheap, and still drunk from the night before. She's hungover, and I don't know who is styling the Lauren character on this show, but her wigs are terrible. They are awful. I don't know who is doing these parts, but these parts need to be blended a little better. They're coming across real orangey. That makeup is coming across real orangey. I don't care for it at all. Now, in the pilot, everybody had a glow, a golden hue about them. We don't see that in now this second episode, which is technically the first episode, because the first episode was actually a pilot. But I digress. She hung over and drunk and kind of cantankerous, and her mom is embarrassed. And she's trying to, pseudo comfort her and also keep her from shaming her in front of all the new recruits. And she tells her, hey, why don't you, I want to help you cheer up a little bit. I know Taylor's still in the hospital. Why don't you come with me to my Forbes photo shoot tomorrow? And she was like, okay, I'll come. And then she gets sick because she hung over. She runs and she goes to throw up. In that moment, her mother is slightly embarrassed, but she picks up her phone and she looks in it, and she sees all the pictures of Taylor and Lauren canoodling and in intimate moments. And even though she's thrown off, at the same time, Angela makes a proposal that they change the name of the Black businesswoman's ball to something a little bit more fancy. Shake it up, especially since the new recruits are in charge. Let's take this opportunity to shake it up and make it our own. And Leah takes over the conversation and the idea and says, why don't we call it the Black Diamonds Ball? And that represents everyone, creatives, artists, the whole lot. And everyone's like, okay, good idea. Leah, good idea. Angela's like, but okay, fine, whatever. And then she goes to, what Leah does then is she gives everyone assignments. Go ahead and make your deliveries. And, you over here, person, I need you to deliver, a set of flowers to my mother, Rose Franklin. But I can't do it. My son has equestrian practice after school. And Angela takes that moment to say, girl, I got you. I'll deliver them. Because Leah done ran out of the room. She done saw them pictures and she's shocked. She runs out of the room. And Angela takes that moment. She sees this every opportunity. okay, to take these flowers and deliver them to Mama Rose. On her way out, she sees Raymond. She takes that opportunity when she sees Raymond to shine in front of him, to make sure he knows her application is in place, and she feels like her business would be the perfect business for them to put their money behind. And he was like, well, listen, your application is in place. What I can do is recommend that it be pulled, but I can't make any promises. Okay, if it's not fiscally sound for us to invest in your business, we're not going to do it. So you got to prove yourself to us. And he says, I will recommend you, but I can't make any promises. She said, good, I'm not asking for promises. I don't depend on promises. I don't accept promises. What I do is I depend on myself. And I'm going to show you that my company, my business is worth it. And he said, I like that confidence. I was like, slow your roll, Angela. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. This your sister's husband. Slow your roll. Slow it. Okay? It's about to be a tangle web. Okay, so we see where she goes and she makes the delivery to Mama Rose. Okay, and this is a shocker for us because Mama Rose is in this beautiful assisted living facility. And when Angela comes in to deliver the flowers, Mama Rose looks over her shoulders and she said, oh, the witch has arrived, but with a B. The witch has arrived. How can I help you, Leah? And it's at this moment Angela realizes that Mama Rose thinks she's her daughter, Leah. Now, it's not clear to us if Mama Rose has some form of dementia. She kind of is giving me Lucia's mama feeling a little bit, and I think she's going to be kind of used like Lucia's mama. Now, I don't know how much like Mama Lucia she is, but it was a titillating moment, and also it was slightly frightening as well. So we're not sure how bad off Mama Rose is, or if Mama Rose is just being medicated and she being kept there purposefully. All right, so let's talk about what we learned during the Mama Rose visit. We see where we learned that one, Mama Rose thinks Angela is Leah. Two, in 1994 is when Rose was made HBIC of the Graceties, and Teddy, her husband, Teddy Franklin, was made HNIC of the Kingship. Okay. It was also that year that Leah was 2 or 3 years old. That night of the ball, the black person's illumination ball. I don't know, child. They give them grandiose names. Mama Eve, Angela's mama, was arrested. We also learned that the very mention of Evelyn Vaughn's name is a sore spot for everyone in the Bluffs. Everyone. Teddy, Leah, Olivia, everybody. The people that Angela is eventually going to call at the hospital. It is a sore spot. Okay, so I'm eager to learn a little bit more about Mama Eve. We also learned that Eve and Rose was close, and that Eve worked for Mama Rose for 2 summers, right? And they became good friends until she became stereotypical, meaning she became the friend that slept with my husband, right? And she told Teddy, if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. Now, she has sat down and asked Leah, her daughter, to help her get ready for a function that night. She ain't going nowhere, child. But Angela plays along and she begins to twist her hair up, And so Mama Rose is talking this whole time that Angela is behind her twisting her hair up. I told Teddy not to, if you lay down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. And Angela is like, hold up now, ho. And she says, she then goes on to talk about how Eve was an evil woman who was money hungry, con, and a thief. And she sold her baby to a woman, and she called a woman's name. I don't think I wrote it down, but she calls the woman's Deborah Ann Washington. For $50,000, she sold that baby. Baby, ooh, Angela was so shocked. She was like, oh, I can't. And she runs out. Then we see Mama Rose was like, Leah, you got to get me out of here. You and your daddy put me in here. You got to get me out of here. I was like, ooh, this is too much. This is too much. She trying to say that Mama Eve, Angela's mama, sold her to this woman, Deborah Ann Washington, for $50,000. Well, obviously, Angela is going to think it's a lie because she was reared up with her mom. Okay? She goes back to her house and she immediately calls the hospital. They hanging up on her, child. They hanging up on her. She having to call back and call back and call back. Okay? They've been put on a proverbial NDA. It might not be written in stone, but they know what happened if they cross Teddy, right? Most of them do anyway. At the same time, we see that Tariq is there and he is looking around the property. The outside of the property is sound, ready to go. There's some changes that she can do inside to expand the salon. One of the things that she can do is under the stairwell is an alcove that she can do some things with it. He gets to knock it on the wall and he realizes that, oh, it's another room back here. He boom, 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 knocks it out. And inside the room in perfect, pristine condition. Now, the room got a window. But this is soap opera. We don't pick at scabs. Okay? The room got a window. It's light beaming in. And it's beautiful. It looked like it used to be like a dressing room or a woman's sitting room. You know what I'm saying? A vanity room, that type of thing. A beauty room, if you will. Or a nail salon. But anyway, we see where she's got all these beautiful things, and Angela goes in and she is smelling her mother's beautiful things and her beautiful, beautiful jewels. Oh, mama. It's a very, very magical moment. It is. Now, prior to this, Tariq asked her out to dinner, okay? And she said, I got a party to go to tonight, but if you want to come, I'll pick you up at 6. And he was like, hey. He likes the way she kind of take charges, take charge. She's a take charge kind of person. Okay. So, then we go and we see Leah, and Leah is at her Forbes photo shoot. Now, she at this photo shoot, she got Lauren there, and she tries to kind of rally Lauren up with relatable conversation. She talks about how she gets nervous, and Lauren was like, you get nervous too, mama? And she was like, yes, of course. At the same time, Daddy Franklin walk up, right? And he's there, and Leah is like, what are you doing here? There's look on her face. But Lauren is like, Granddaddy, I love you. And he's like, pretty little brown girl, Granddaddy loves you too. And then he goes into pontification. I love to hear the sound of my own voice. Basically, something about power and the gray area. All of that he said to say, watch your back, little girl, talking to Leah. Because she done sent Lauren on her way. Watch your back. Okay. I told you was over your head. Okay. And power ain't for everybody. Everybody can't manage power. Everybody can't handle power. That's really what all of that conversation was about. And it was also a pseudo warning for her. He says he's been invited there by Forbes. Because he's retiring. They want to get some conversation with him as the outgoing CEO and get a couple of photo shoots and do a quick interview. And she's got a crazy look on her face because she know her daddy up to something. Okay. At the same time, she wants to take him down a peg or two, and she tells him about her memories. Okay. Since you want to go down memory lane and talk about power and all this, that, and the third. Let's talk about my memories of a small Boston apartment and a rainy night and a little girl who couldn't have been no more than 2 years, 2 years younger than me, maybe a couple of years younger than me, maybe, and you running off from that little girl and your hands shaking and quivering on the steering wheel as you drove off. He didn't say a word. He went right on around her and was talking to the forest people like, how y'all doing, Daddy? Pontification is here. And she got a worried look on her face. She should. We also get to see where afterwards she has got it in her crawl for Angela. Everywhere she looks around, Angela's products. So Lauren and Leah, after the photo shoot, go storming into Eve's crown. And they walk in like they own the place, basically. I thought since you have been walking up on my husband, trying to push your application into the Franklin Small Business Program, I thought I'd come by and see what my investment was going to be about. And Angela was like, please feel free to look around. And she sees Lauren. And we see where Leah goes right into it. You say you're from Boston. What part of Boston? She was like, oh, East Side. You know it? Why would I know it? Why would I know anything about it? Okay. And when she does that, Angela deflects because she was like, I'm not finna do this with you. And she looks at Leah and she was like, oh, hey, how you doing, Lauren? I hope you're doing okay. Nikki was telling me that Taylor is getting better. Taylor, Nikki going to see Taylor in the hospital? She was like, yeah, she's been checking on her and talking to her and just helping her try to get back to health, And Leah gets up and runs over to Lauren and was like, Lauren, calm down. Why is she going to see Taylor? She says, Lauren, calm down. I saw those photos of you and Taylor on the phone, and it looked like what? We were in love. Deal with it, mama. Deal with it. Like I love her. She said, honey, I would never ever, this Leah, I would never ever try to suppress you. It's just, we can't accept these types of behaviors. And basically, Lauren is like, you know what? Duck you, mama. And she walks out. She doesn't say it, but basically she was like, you know what? I can't talk to you. I can't deal with you if this how you gonna be. I'm trying to tell you I'm in love. And I'm trying to tell you I'm gay. And this how you gonna act. Basically, storms out. Angela takes this moment not to take Leah down a peg or two. Much like at the flower arrangement session, she takes a moment to deflect and distract off of this embarrassment, pseudo embarrassment that Leah is having. And she says, I know how it is. She said, but what you say to her next matters. Okay. And Leah lets her guard down. She's just like, I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know what the right thing to say is. And she says, Angela says, well, welcome to the Working Mothers program, whatever. And she says, when you find the answer out how to talk to a teenager as a working mom, please let a sister know. And it's this warm moment. And as soon as Leah falls into this moment, she falls out of it. She snaps out of it. She was like, well, I'll be in touch. And she storms off. And Angela is just like, oh. At the same time, she getting a phone call. It's somebody calling her back from the hospital. Probably somebody new who don't know they not supposed to be telling nothing that go on with the Franklins or Evelyn Vaughn. Calls back and tells her that that the woman that took her home from the hospital was Deborah Ann Washington. So she goes into the little room, which they have not torn the wall out. She is still climbing through this little hole that Tyreek done punched in the wall. And Aunt Piggy is there, and she is giving us full Debbie Morgan. And she was like, it's true. Aunt Piggy, it's true. Mama sold me for $50,000. What did she buy with it? Did she buy this and this and this? And she's pulling all the garments and the fabric and she's throwing. And Aunt Piggy's like, no, she almost lost her mind behind that. It was only for 6 months and she came in, she got you back. And she storms out. Okay? Aunt Piggy's sitting in the living room when Angela come back in. She had to take a walk, baby. A beautiful golden walk. Because that dress she had on, that golden color dress she had on, and that fat, juicy, curly hair she had on, baby, when she came float back, and I said, come on, goddess. Come on. Okay. Sat down. Where did you go? Aunt Piggy says. And she says, I went for a walk. I had to clear my mind. And she said, listen, your mama almost lost her life behind what she did. She felt like she couldn't take care of you. She couldn't do what was right by you. She almost snapped by it. She didn't sign the papers. She did take the money, but she went back and she got you. Well, did she return the money? She couldn't return the money because I was in a bad way. I had trouble myself. And we couldn't return the money. Your mama worked for years to pay that money back to that woman. Please, you've got to understand, Angela. Oh, it was just full Deborah Morgan. I was like, give it to me. Emote, Miss Debbie. Emote. Oh, I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it so much. Okay, so when Angela gathers herself and she was just like, I've just got to figure this out. But she said, listen, you spending too much time focusing on them Franklins and them Duponts instead of doing what your mama wanted you to do. Same conversation Nikki had with her earlier. She said, if you don't get yourself together and spread your mama's ashes like she wanted you, I'm going to do it my dad burned self. Angela got on up and walked on off. And when Aunt Piggy turned, she had a look on her face that said worry. I said, oh, Miss Piggy. Come on, Auntie Piggy. Wild child. You got secrets. Filthy, dirty secrets, darling. I'm on to you. Okay, so then we get to see where Angela shines so bright and beautiful, baby, on the black carpet. She is gone and picked up Tariq, Aunt Piggy, and Nikki is gonna meet her there later because she on a date, boo. Okay. Also, as a surprise, okay, and you know, further trying to ingratiate herself with it for this Franklin Business Award, she also invites a small business from the community that is like a spotlight moment, a pillar of the community, and it is the woman that plays Mama Payne from House of Pain. It's our second Tyler Perry-esque moment, you know, where, you know, they just around the way people. And so Leah and Raymond tried to take these old dignified pictures, and child Mama Payne in the background just cutting up, baby. They got on t-shirts with their logo on it. Like, yeah, you know. Right. It's like a little flower bomb drop in the middle of all of this elegance and regalness, you know. It's like somebody threw a big old pig foot in the middle of the table. Pickle pig foot, that is, darling. Pickled. Okay. And this is all thanks to Angela. Well, she's quite pleased with herself. We also get to see where Raymond later walks up on Angela and kind of celebrates her in this moment of expanding this ball into something more than just the edification of other rich people, but the inclusion of people of color in business and other genres that are stellar, that are doing well, you know, that have excellent products, so on and so forth. And he tells her it has garnered her ambition, her confidence has garnered her an interview. And he was like, be prepared to interview her. She was like, okay, cool. I was like, slow down, Angela. Slow down. This your sister's husband. Okay, we see where Quincy and Nikki are having this conversation, and Auntie Piggy told her before she started talking to him that they're gonna be kissing cousins, right? Remember, his mama is your mama's sister, so it can't be nothing between the two of y'all. And so she's nervous in conversation because she thinks he likes her like that. And no sooner than they get to talking good, here comes Lauren. Lauren busts in with that bag wig of horrible wiggle braids. It's a wig, but it's braids. And it's a wiggle braids. Did you tell my mother about me and Taylor? And Nikki said, I didn't tell anybody anything. And Quincy says, Lauren, I think you're being rude. Nikki says, I don't need nobody to defend me. I'm nobody's victim. I can defend myself. And Lauren says, you don't have any business here. You don't belong here. It always amazes me when black people use the colonizers' words against other black people. You don't belong here. I don't belong here. You don't belong here, just like your old criminal grandmother. Baby, when I tell you, Nikki took a deep breath, baby, and just as she was about to singe the edges of Lauren's wiggle braids, baby, her mama snatched her up. Because she was about to tell her, why you say I don't belong here. Maybe you don't belong here either, because my mama and your mama sisters. How about that? You my cousin, ho. Husband. That comes from a sick part of me, I'm sure. But I digress. Husband. Oh, be careful, Angela. You and Raymond, y'all be careful that, because that's your husband. Anywho, you my cousin, ho. Okay, she didn't say it, but she was about to give it to her, woof, Dracarys, and burn them doggone edges off. But Angela snatched her up and was like, watch your mouth. Were you about to tell that you Mama, I hate these people. I hate it here, and I hate the way they making you behave and the way you're at. You trying to make them forget all about Mama Eve, just like you want me to forget all about Mama Eve. And she storms off. Just as she storms off, we see that Teddy Franklin and his daughter Leah taking the stage. Well, he got a surprise not only for everybody there, but also for Leah. And at this moment, it's her first time really seeing Teddy Franklin, her daddy. Okay, really seeing him. And seeing him. And he starts to make this speech, pontification. All of that just to say, I want up my daughter. Okay, I'm not retiring. All right. Behind him, lights come on and the Forbes cover. It's supposed to be just Leah. He's supposed to be introducing Leah as and she's on the cover of Forbes. And then they're supposed to light up behind him the cover of Forbes where she is standing there with satisfaction, on the cover, right? But instead it lights up and he's taking a picture with his body like this, and she's taking a picture with her body like this, and they done spliced them together, and so they look like they standing, back to back as a team. He says, unfortunately, it's not true what you heard. I am still in charge down in Franklin, and my daughter Leah is still second in command. Okay, and he walks off. And they were like, give it up for the incomparable Leah Franklin. She is just absolutely exquisite, isn't she, everyone? He walks on off now, and she is like, Daddy, this isn't over. He was like, I told you was in over your head. And contrary to what you may believe, it is quite over. At the same time, he is clutching that left hand. I said to myself, Lord, you're doing too much, Lee Daniels. You're doing too much. Right now, we know something finna happen to Daddy Franklin. Okay, Teddy Franklin. Okay. We see where when he walks past Angela, Angela sees him and she wants to run up to him and say something, but she can't. She kind of runs after him as she does when she was that little girl. And Tariq grabs her arm and was like, "You all right? You okay?" And she was like, "No, just leave me alone." And she runs out, runs to the beach, and throws all up. And Nikki runs up behind her, and even though she's had harsh words for her mother, she grabs her hand. Angela said, "My father was right there. I couldn't even say a word to him." They don't say anything. It's a moment. Meanwhile, in the back, we see where Raymond is fired up, because if Teddy is back in charge, that means that he's not getting his company Darman back. You promised me, Leah, that you could do this. You told me that this was settled and done, that you had gotten rid of your father and I could get my company back. Honey, please, you've got to just trust me. Please, honey, you've got to just trust what I'm telling you. It's going to happen, but it's going to take some time. Please just trust me. And he was like, "You better be right. I want my company back and I'm tired of waiting." I was like, "Oh, Raymond, so you can speak above a decibel. What's going on?" Now, I can't figure Raymond out. Is it that Raymond is poor at business? Is he some type of fool? Is he a weak link? Is he jellyback? What help me to identify what Raymond is? He seems like he may be a little bit of a weak link. A little bit of a weak link. I don't know, because he gave us a strong hand when it came to talking to Leah. But we still got to figure this out. And we still don't know all about Quincy yet. I thought it was hilarious that Nikki thought that Quincy was taking up for her. He was barely purring over a whisper. "I just think you just going too far." This is what he tell Lauren. Nikki was like, "I don't need anyone to defend me." I was like, "Girl, it was barely defense." He seemed like he might be a little scared of Lauren, but I digress. What's going on with the men in this Dupont family? Then we see where he storms out and Jack is standing there, the white guy, with his hands in his pocket, and he walks up. He's gonna comfort Leah. He doesn't mean what he says. He's just upset. And she was like, I wish he could see me like you see me. I wish I could believe that. And he was like, "You can." He goes to hug her, picks her up, comforts her, and tries to kiss her. Now, I don't know why she wasn't bringing it up strong with this elbow. You know, when he tried to kiss her, like, bam! You know what I'm saying? I got her. This elbow is stronger. This my good elbow. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, Lauren walks in and sees the kiss, and then she runs out. It was the worst. Raymond, her father, was like, "What's going on with you, honey? What's happening? You're shaking. You're quivering, darling. What has happened to you?" And she is like, "Daddy. And Leah has caught up with her by this time, and Leah's like, "Maybe we should just go and talk about this elsewhere," because they like on the black carpet. "Maybe we should go and talk about this elsewhere." And Lauren goes to run off, and she tells her mama, "Hypocrite." And she goes to run off. At the same time, the police come in. Now it's 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 of them, all lovely and black. We have spoken to Taylor, who has come out of her sickness and bad health, and she has told us that it was not an accident how she fell off of that boat. And we are taking you in for questioning. And Lauren says, no. And she points at Nikki. She was like, "Nikki was there. Nikki can tell you." And Nikki was like, "I don't know. I didn't see it." And then Leah walks up like she's finna confront Nikki and make Nikki say that she was there and she saw it, and Lauren is in the clear. And Angela say, "I bet you won't. I bet you won't raise your voice to my daughter. You best to back it up, boo. Okay, and Leah backs it right on down. Okay, right on down. All right. Okay. They put her in handcuffs and take her on out of there. Then we see later on that evening, after everything has died down, Tyreek is swimming in his pool, looking fine as all get out in the moonlight, and Angela then came around there to apologize, and she skirts around the fact that she knows that Teddy is her daddy, and he tells her the story about how his daddy died. His daddy used to work for Teddy and took a bullet as the head of security protecting Teddy, and Teddy made sure that he took care of Tyreek. Now we already know what happened. He probably had Tyreek daddy killed, probably, more than likely. Anyway, he teaches her a technique that he used when he wanted to talk with his daddy, when he wanted to hear clearly what his daddy was communicating to him. In other words, when he wanted to access those forgotten conversations and thoughts and ideas that his father had passed down to him, he would just lay in the pool and float. And so he lays her down in the pool and she floats. It's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful scene. And they end up kissing. But the next day, what she got from that floating was an idea of where and how to distribute her mom's ashes. So her, Aunt Piggy, and Nikki are on this bridge, this beautiful bridge, and they're dressed in white, and they're reciting Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, and they're distributing her ashes while they recite it. It's a really, really beautiful moment. It gave me like a little Eve's Bayou feel. And so then we see where Leah goes to see Teddy about Lauren. And he basically, no matter what they got going on, she wants him to handle it. Now, he is underhanded. He does things in a very underhanded way. But for the purposes of getting Lauren out, his underhanded ways are useful. And he says to her, I'm going to handle it like I always handle everything. Don't worry, it'll be taken care of. Now, we don't know what that means. We don't know if that means that Taylor will never, ever, ever make it out of the hotel, out of the hospital. We don't know if she's going to be shipped off to Iceland somewhere. We don't know what Teddy means by handle it. We just know it ain't good. You in danger, Taylor girl. You in danger, right? Also, they get to talking about, Angela. And he just basically tells her, listen, me and you got to align ourselves. Okay, your thoughts about that rainy night in Boston were true. Okay, I had an affair with a woman and I had a child with her, and Angela is that child, but I chose you and your mama over them. Okay, I chose you and your mama over them. He says, and now it's time for us to align ourselves, because if we don't, we can't have her Angela dragging out all our dirty secrets and destroying what we built. So instead of us fighting against each other, we need to fight together to get rid of this girl. Now, I mean, you did some really unscrupulous things to get rid of her mother, and now finna do those same things to get rid of Taylor. So I'm not sure why you're not gonna try to do the same things to get rid of Angela, except Angela came in and made a splash. Angela will be missed. People gonna ask questions about Angela, right? So it's got to be done delicately. But y'all sure working hard to get rid of Angela and any secrets she may uncover. Meanwhile, later on, we see Aunt Piggy at the sink. Just like I thought, baby. She got her own set of secrets. I think she messed around with Teddy too. I think she cheated with Teddy on her sister. She burning up a picture of her in the olden days with a dude. Now, I don't know who that dude was. I have no idea. But it looked like it could be Teddy. At the same time that she's setting this picture on fire, Teddy just walks into the kitchen. Okay, and he is like, hey there, Piggy. And she goes in that kitchen drawer, gets out a gun and points it. And he says, come on now, is that any way to act between old friends? And she got that look on her face like, Get out of here. And it goes off. I was like, what is going on? What is going on, child? This is like 50,000 storylines in one episode, but I am here for it. What did you guys think of this episode? Okay. Whew, it was a lot. It was a lot. Who was in the picture, you guys? I feel like here's an opportunity for Leah and Angela to team up and take down Papa Teddy. I think that would be a great storyline. But it looks like what's going to happen is Papa Teddy and Leah are going to band together to take down Angela, Aunt Piggy, and Nikki. Right? But something tells me that Daddy Teddy really loves Eve. Something tells me that. Something tells me that he wanted them and not Leah and her mama. But he chose, because of affluence, Leah and her mama. And so eventually what we might see is him getting sick and dying. And instead of him leaving that company to Leah, he leaves it to Angela. Boom! What y'all think? Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, I'll holler.